What's up guys, welcome to today's video. Today we have something really cool because I always personally wanted to review a 29-inch gaming monitor with an aspect ratio of 21:9, and that is something that even though we have 34, 49-inch gaming monitors, this is something a bit different and more budget-oriented ultra-wide gaming monitor. Right here we have the LC-POWER M29 UXGA 100C. Now this is quite a long name, but it actually says everything in the name, so you already know what we're going to talk about. So first of all, let's start immediately with the specifications. So I give you all the details that you need to know and skip the boring part immediately at the beginning. So 29-inch VA panel by Samsung. We have curvature 1200R, which the screen is non-glare. The resolution is 2560 x 1080. Contrast ratio is 3000:1. We have refresh rate 100 Hz. It supports FreeSync, it has overdrive, low blue, flicker free, VESA mount 75 x 75, brightness is 250 Candela per square meter, viewing angle is 178 degrees vertical and horizontal, response time is 6 milliseconds. It doesn't have speakers, but there's a possibility to adjust the volume in the OSD menu. The height adjustment is 10 centimeters and color space 95% sRGB, 72% Adobe RGB. Those are the main specifications. As I already said, it's quite interesting to give you some detailed specs just up on front so you know what we're going to talk about. Now what I did is, as usual, played some games to check out how it looks when you're actually gaming on an ultra wide with this resolution. It's, as already stated at the beginning, a budget ultra-wide gaming monitor for some of you guys that want an ultra-wide, but still can't afford the bigger ones, the 34-inch, 49-inch even, or simply your PC is in that category that can't support those extreme resolutions on those larger screens. Or maybe there's just this fact, maybe you simply don't have space for a larger monitor, but you still want an ultra wide and you still want a curved, or eventually you're into some sort of a racing and you want to have some more field of view on the sides. That's it. That's really cool and an option. Of course, in each game you can adjust the settings to the screen. The thing is, some menus and some loading screens don't stretch to the full 21:9 aspect ratio, but then again, when you enter the game, just like I did in Lara Croft or PUBG, it stretched completely. In PUBG I had to adjust the resolution because the resolution was 16:9 1080p aspect ratio and you can see it was stretched, but that's nothing to be concerned about because when you enter the settings and adjust the proper resolution, you get what you're aiming for. Now, taking into consideration the connection part, you have two HDMI 1.4 and you have one DisplayPort 1.2 and one audio out. Now, when you take into consideration the connections, right, and the, I would say, lower versions of the HDMI and DisplayPort, you basically don't need anything higher than that because we have let's say a full HD resolution in ultra wide, so UXGA, and 100 Hz. So this means you don't need a high bandwidth cable or connection to get those refresh rates on this resolution. Now, when we take into consideration the refresh rates, it's quite logical. If you have hardware that is too powerful, you'll get screen tearing unless you lock FPS to the refresh rate of your monitor. So for instance, I played PUBG with 7600X and 6650 XT. I got 300 FPS. The average was 220. And of course, in some quick movements, there was screen tearing. In Lara Croft, the same thing. Immediately after it passes 100 Hz, it did get screen tearing as well. So there's that. I would just lock it to the monitor cap and basically you're good to go. 100 FPS is quite alright, even though some of you will definitely say, and I do agree, don't get me wrong, I do agree, I have a 165 at the back, so yeah, more FPS, it does give more smoothness to the movement. But it all depends on your hardware, the resolution, and of course the details that you want to play inside your game. So The backlight bleed, it doesn't happen. I had some light coming from this side, but I'm not sure if it's the soft boxes when I was recording. Basically, yeah, I turned off the lights completely. So it did get some backlight bleed here on this side, but that was it, and I can't complain. We have quite cool stand, which is quite simple, but in my opinion, it does miss some cable comb or something where you would push the cables throughout that hanger just to have I would say a nice cable management on your table, but it can be done without a doubt. The stand comes in 3 pieces. You have the bottom part, you have the huge back part, and of course the inner part that locks inside your monitor. You have some LED lights, but unfortunately it doesn't create some effect when you place your monitor against the wall. It just kind of lights up when you're looking at it at the back. So there's that. I mean, you can't expect for this price range to get a monitor that will have some RGB backlight and to give you some additional effects or additional view of field. But that's okay. Now OSD is, well, basically quite simple. You have 5 buttons on the far right side of the monitor, which each of them are either a shortcut to some sort of a menu in OSD, crosshair, power on, power off button, and of course the complete OSD menu, which is basically a really straightforward menu and doesn't give you some headaches while searching and going through it. It's all there. You can adjust the brightness, you can adjust the colors, language, similar stuff, and of course the back side of the lights, it can be adjusted as well. If for instance you want to wall mount it, which could be a good idea basically just for the cables, but if you want to wall mount it, it supports VESA mount 75x75, so there's that, and you do need to take that into account. It doesn't have a standard 100x100. The angles are great. There's literally nothing that you need to worry about when we're talking about the picture. The darks were a bit strange in Lara Croft, and that might be also the reason because I didn't pump up the brightness at 100%. As you can see, I did that in OSD menu later on, and it got a bit better. So 250 kDA per square meter, it is alright, but I would prefer 350 or 400, which would be just great. Now when we're talking about the stand, and since I skipped and went a bit off topic, there's a possibility to tilt it. You can swivel it and you can raise it up and down. Raising it up and down by 10 centimeters will give you quite nice adjustment, I would say, to fit it perfectly on your table. Since I'm learning from my mistakes, checking out the comments in past monitor reviews, I wanted to check this right now. So adjusting the height gives you a possibility. So the lowest point from the table to the bottom part of the monitor is 7.8 centimeters. And since the distance from the top to the bottom of the adjustment of the stand is 10 centimeters, it's logical 17.8 is the highest point from the table to the bottom part of it when you raise it up to the maximum. In terms of resolution, in terms of refresh rate, response time, unfortunately 6 milliseconds, which could be at least like 4 or something if they manage something like that, but that's something else to talk about. The resolution for some of you guys won't be appealing. The 29-inch with aspect ratio 21:9 also won't be appealing. But when we take a look into consideration the budget and computers that might run this at a perfect, I would say, FPS count, details, resolution, stuff like that, I think this would be quite cool in terms of budget ultra wide, as already stated 2 times before, but budget ultra wide with gaming monitor for a budget gaming PC. In somewhat low tier, even if you're running an integrated GPU on your AMD processors like 5700G or something similar to that. But it could be a cool thing, you know, taking into consideration that not all games go ultra wide, but for racing, and as you already seen, PUBG, FPS games that support ultra wide, which would definitely give you more field of view, and there's that. 100 Hz, it's alright if we take into consideration the build that is in the lower tier, but it would be really cool if the refresh rate was 144 or at least 120. That would be perfect. But if you run a AAA game on ultra details and depending on the PC, not sure if you'll be hitting 100 FPS. All in all, I would say quite cool. I do have to say quite cool. The design is really nice. The stand is really solid with 3-piece combination to adjust it and to assemble it. Quite easy actually, because it's really straightforward. The only shame that I didn't record any racing games because unfortunately I don't have a steering wheel and driving on the keys on the keyboard can really look a bit strange. So I'll leave that for future curved monitors and eventually if something else pops up from LC-POWER. All in all, I would say a good curved monitor for a budget low tier PC that will definitely go up to these specifications and it will be great. The colors are really outstanding and honestly everything you've seen in the games, this is everything basically out from the box. So there's that. Guys, if you're interested and if you want to learn more details about this LC-POWER M29 gaming monitor, you can check out in the link below. And if you're new to the channel and like my content, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. Thank you for watching, guys, and hopefully I will see you in another one. Bye bye.